Today we install RawForge, which is a tool we can use to denoise raw files. So no need to export them as TIFF or PNG file like we did with Restormer or Denoise. Before we start, I just want to say that this project is still in alpha, so you should expect some bugs. Also in this video, you will see that RawForge didn't work well for me, but online I've seen many people that are getting great results. So maybe I did something wrong? I don't know. But the best is you install it yourself and you test it on your own pictures. So if you want to know how to install this free and open source tool, stick around. Okay, so RawForge is a Python application, so we need Python to install it. So again, different application might need different Python version. So to avoid any conflict with the version, I like to install a package manager. So there are many like Conda or Mamba, but I like to use something called UV. So when you go to installation, there are commands for Windows, so you need to run that inside PowerShell. And you also have commands for for macOS and Linux. Right now we are inside a Linux Mint virtual machine because that's the best operating system. So I will copy this command and run it in my terminal. And that's it, UV is installed, so we can test it by typing uv-h, so it will run the man page, confirming that it was installed successfully. So with UV installed, we can now install RawForge. So like all the other Python application, I like to install it on my .local. So on Windows and macOS, you can install it wherever you want. But on Linux, I need to create the folder first. So if you have already done Restormer or Denoise, or if you install SAM2 or SAM3, the folder should already be there. But just in case, you can try this command. So as you can see in my case, it was already there. So now we can cd to that directory. If we look inside, we already have an Denoise, Restormer, SAM2 and SAM3, but now we will install RawForge. So to do so, I need to create the directory, and then I cd to that directory. So this is slightly different than Denoise and Restormer because for the other application, we clone the Git repository, but for RawForge, we will install it using pip. So first, we need to create the virtual environment. So we do uv venv. And next we need to do uv pip install RawForge. And then it will download and install all the dependencies. So in my case, some of the dependencies were already installed during the Denoise and Restormer installation. So that's why the installation went fast. So in your case, if you haven't installed any other Python application, it might take longer because it will have to download all the dependencies. So now that we have RawForge installed, we can try it on a raw image. So unlike the other tools, we don't have to convert the raw file into a TIFF file or a PNG before doing the denoise. So that's the command we have to use if we want to denoise using RawForge. So again, we do uv run RawForge. So that means we will run RawForge in the virtual environment using uv. Then we put 3net denoise heavy. I don't remember what that is. I believe that's the model. Next, we select the input image. So as you can see, it's the RW2. So it's the raw file we use in the other videos. And next, we select the output file name. So as you can see, it's a .dng file. So if I recall correctly, when I press enter, because we haven't downloaded the model yet, it will download it automatically, and then it will perform denoising on my image. So yeah, as you see, it's now downloading the model. So after the download is completed, it will start to denoise it. And when I was looking at HTOP, when it was denoising it, it uses about 2 or 3 GB of RAM. So this is much more than when I tested it on my GPU. So with my GPU, it took approximately 1 GB of VRAM, and the denoise took approximately 1 minute. So now let's look at the final image. So as you can see, it removes most of the noise, but we still have some like hot pixels. So overall, the end result is not as good as Restormer and not even as good as Denoise. But when you look the image full screen, honestly, it's not so bad, but it's when you look at it, it looked like a Christmas tree with all that blue and red and green dots we see around the image. But off camera, I've tested with other photos, and as you can see, this one was perfectly fine. So I believe it depends on the input image, so depending on the noise profile, it might or might not work. So if you were able to try them all, let me know in the comments what you think works best. And if we all agree to what's the best AI denoiser, I might be able to do a plugin for it so we can use it with Darktable instead of manually installing everything in the terminal. Okay, so one last thing before I go. So you see right now I have the CFA flag. So this means if I run this command, the final DNG file that will be generated won't be a Demosaic. This means that if we import it inside Darktable, we will be able to use the Demosaic module. So let me show you right now. So now we are inside Darktable, and if I open the Demosaic module, whoops. As you can see right now, we can enable and disable the capture sharpen module. We can also play with the Demosaic method if we wish. Without the CFA flag, you won't be able to do that because the output DNG file will already be Demosaic. But if you enable it, you will be able to do that, meaning you have more flexibility and you are able to enable a capture sharpen or change the Demosaic algorithm. If you have watched thus far, you deserve a gift because you are a real one. So let me show you something. So RawForge is a command line tool and it's the backend for RawRefinery. So now you may be wondering what Refinery is. So now if I go there, you will see it's another Python application. So it's written 99.6% in Python, but it offers a graphical interface for denoising. So that's why I was saying it's a gift. So instead of doing everything in the terminal like nerds like me, you can install this instead and you will have a graphical interface to denoise your pictures. So now we will install it very quickly on that Linux Mint virtual machine. So the first step is to copy the URL. Next, you open your terminal. You cd to your .local, local opt. From there, you do git clone. You paste the URL you just copied. Sorry, I made a mistake, so I need only this, so that will work. Now you cd in the RawRefinery directory. Everything is there. So now if we follow the instructions, it says we need to install Torch first. So we can click there. So this is a tool I didn't know before, so it's very useful. So in my case, I want to run it on the CPU. So I'm gonna run this command. So remember, because we are using UV, we won't be using pip. We will have to use our UV command. So I will do UV pip and paste everything. So basically it's UV pip install torch vision, and with the index URL for CPU only. So if you want to run that on NVIDIA GPU, you can go there, select your CUDA version, and then run the command specific for your GPU. So if I go back there, I can run this. Whoops, sorry. Sorry about that. So I forgot. First, I need to do UV, VENV to create the virtual environment. And then I can install Torch. That's it. Everything is installed. So now, if I recall correctly, we need to do UV pip install RawRefinery. Yeah, that's right. So I'm going to copy this. and run uv pip install RawRefinery and run this. It will take some time, so I will be back soon. Okay, so everything is installed. So now we do uv run RawRefinery. So I guess it will install more stuff. I will just wait and get back to you once everything has been downloaded. Okay, so it didn't work, and I believe it's because I need this module. So I'm gonna try to install it and run that again. No, it's not working, so let me think a little bit. Okay, it's working now. So I believe it was looking for this or this. So after I install it, I ran uv run RawRefinery again. It downloaded the model and it launched the graphical application. So now we have a small pop-up telling us it's an alpha release. We will need some RAM and VRAM and stuff like that. So the way you can use it is you look for your images. So if I select the folder, it's funny because it only see the picture from my Sony camera. So it do not see the picture I took with my Panasonic camera. So that could explain why everything from my Panasonic camera got some weird dots in the pictures. So maybe that format is not supported, so that's why I have issues. So to be honest with you, I didn't try this application much, but I believe it's self-explanatory. So there you have the model, so you can choose between all the denoise model, and you can also select deblur and sharpen. Then you can decide if you want a CPU, if you install with CUDA. So when I did it on my main computer, I could choose between CPU and my GPU. Next, you can choose the ISO. I believe it's selected automatically when you select your picture. Otherwise, you can play with it manually. Grain, I don't remember what that is. Then you have exposure. It's just to improve the exposure of your preview. Right now, I don't have any preview. It didn't generate the preview already. Next, you have update preview. You have the CFA flag and save test patch. I don't know what that is. So that's it. So if you try it, let me know what you think. So that's it for me. If this video was helpful, like always, just give me a like and see you next time.